can we start off with a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what's the agenda for today?
Sure. So my name is Sudeep Jambekar. I belong to a beautiful city called Baroda. It's the cultural capital of Gujarat, if you may know. And I am currently working with a company called Yashashvi Rasayan Private Limited. I'm heading their group HR for the Yash Group, and it's a chemical manufacturing organization, and predominantly based in Dahej, which is a part in Bharuch district.
Okay, so like what are your roles, like responsibilities exactly, like head of HR? So what does that mean?
So basically, we have two manufacturing units and one R&D, which is distantly located in a place called Maroli. So I head HR for all three locations. And when I say HR, it encompasses everything. I mean, right from the basic operational HR roles like payroll or so to say the day-to-day routine activities of contract labor management, managing the local licensing. It also includes we have progressed very well into training and development and OD space, organizational development, and yeah, so anything and everything to do with HR includes recruitment, everything.
Okay, so were you always like into HR? Like, did you start off your career in HR? Like, could you run us down through that?
Yeah. So I did my graduation in physics, and then I had a choice whether I should go into some management field. And HR, when I understood about what is HR, I thought that it will suit me better. So from the very first, I did my master's in human resource and got into HR field itself. And yeah, from the very first job, I'm into HR.
Okay, so uh, tell me, like, for somebody joining HR at the start, like, how do they, what steps do they take, do they have to take to, get into a head HR position eventually down the line?
So, like I'll talk about myself. Like when I started my career 15, 16 years back, then HR, of course, was a popular field, but we didn't have too much of choice in the sense of what role do we get want to get into, unless you join some special role. But otherwise, like you joined as a generalist, and then you get into any which role that is offered to you, be it recruitment, be it contract labor management, with administration for that matter. And then how like you do well in your current role, you get into other roles which are available in the organization. What I see nowadays with the young people who pass out of their colleges is they have a very specific preference, like I want to get into trainings only, or I want to get into IR only. So I think that something is really dangerous, because if you want to progress into a head of HR role, you need to be jack of all, master of none. Probably you should know everything of everything, whatever, be it administration, be it HR, be it IR, be it recruitments, be it compensation. So everything you should know. So I think that is something which I feel that the current generation, I mean, they should get into whatever role they get, and they should also start. I mean, they should not limit themselves to only their role. They should learn cross functionally. I mean, any colleague of them who's doing a different role than them, I feel that they should get into their shoes, understand how their role works, what are the nuances of their role, uh, so on and so forth. So basically, they should try to learn, uh, and only then they will progress into a head of HR position. Otherwise, if they remain a specialist throughout their lives, not that they have not progressed, but it takes a lot of time, because that specialist tag is something which gets attached to them. And to progress into a head of HR, where that person is supposed to look after everything, it's not only specific to recruitment or learning and development, for instance. I mean, the person has to look after everything in HR, so should know everything around these fields.
Okay, so you're saying like it starts off with you learning all the skills, and then you have to eventually head up to making things happen. Like you have a team under you, and then you're the one calling the shots, like management, you can say.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, okay. So now at your company, right now, like companies like yourself, what are the core problems which are related to HR that you face right now? Is it like, is it motivating people? Is it recruitment? Is it like, what aspect of it is it?
So, Shrey, I think we have a mix of all. So, the place where I work today, I mean, the H belt, if you know, it's the biggest, or probably it's the biggest upcoming chemical belt in India. There are a lot of companies around, and like we are a small player though, but there are many big companies, the giants in the field in the chemical space, and there are a lot of companies in and around Baruch. So talent is always a scarce resource. So every time you'll find that recruitment is a challenge, and retaining people, it's going to be very tough, because there is a lot of attrition, there is a lot of like the age, I would say every day there is one or the other unit coming up. So the scarcity of talent is there, the shortage is there. So recruitment and attrition are major challenges. Second thing which I feel is like, people coming into this space, they want to grow, but for them to grow, I think we'll have to reskill them, retrain them on certain aspects. So training and development also becomes a challenge, because I would say the people in the production space or the technical space, they have to choose between whether I should take work out of them or should I send them for training. And I can very well understand that it's a difficult choice to send their people in a full day or a half day training program. So I think that also becomes a challenge, to help them understand as to how it will help them in future if I train them. So I don't know if you know this joke. So there was a CFO and a CHRO, or the head of HR. So they were discussing one day, and HR was discussing that I need this much of budget to train my people. And the CFO says that what if you train your people and they leave? I mean, your investment is going down the drain. And the CHRO then says that what if I don't train them and they stay? I mean, this will become a saddle on your back, which you'll have to carry them forever. So better to train. Whatever people stay with you, leave stays. Whatever people leaves, they leave. I mean, but whatever people stay, I think they'll probably the ROI will be achieved very soon. So I think that is my take on training, and that's what we generally. I mean, that's a challenge, to influence the technical people to send the people into training, especially the behavioral trainings. But so far, so I've been able to motivate them to send the people, and it's happening. So for now, I think we have done pretty well in our organization. And I would say, I mean, attrition wise also, it's a big challenge. But so far, I mean, in the last 2 years, like I've brought down, my team has brought down the attrition from 36%, which was there in 2020 to 23, to now we will close somewhere around 16-17%. And that's a massive shift.
And how do you measure attrition? Like, is it yearly or like how's it?
Yeah, it's a yearly trend. I mean, till now, like we are sitting around 20, 12, 13% of attrition. But by the end of this month, by the end of this financial year, we'll close, I guess, somewhere around 16-17%.
Okay, so I want to talk about retention a bit more. Uh,
Sure.
what are the ways you retain? Like, everybody has different motivations for working a job. For some
Yeah.
it's money, for some it's learning, for some it's like, so all sorts of reasons. So how do you, like, what makes somebody retain, and how do you cater to so many people in an organization?
Yeah. So, what I believe is the culture of the organization plays an important role. So, if you know, probably, Shrey, Tatas are well known for their people practices. So, despite of other companies paying even more than Tatas, and that you might know that they are paying very well beyond what Tatas pay, but people don't want to leave Tata for a reason, that the culture that they get in Tata, they might not get it elsewhere. So we focus, for the last 2 years, on building a culture in the organization which people feel that they should not leave. And till now, I mean, like we do a proper regular exit analysis. We do exit interviews for whosoever lives, and we do a proper half an hour to 45 minute of exit interview with them. We understand what are the reasons that they are leaving us, why they are leaving us, what are the reasons, what would make them stay. So as you said, yes, money is a big motivation. So people with, like minuscule hike, or like 15 or 20% hike, generally they don't leave us. Only if they are getting a big hike, like 40-50% of hike, they think of leaving us. Many people have also gone ahead and said that they are not even looking for a change, because there are examples in the organization where people had left us, gone in with a great hike, but they returned back on their old salaries, because they didn't get the culture that they have worked in our organization. So that really plays a major role, what I feel. Yes, there will be young aspirational people where whatever said and done, I mean, it will not motivate. So I guess learning culture, we do have a learning culture, where and we also have a very transparent and open culture in our organization, where people are free to exercise their will, people are free to experiment. And the good part with us is, like, even the managers or the HODs in our organization, they don't behave as if they are, like, big shots in the organization. They are very approachable, and we have made that culture. Even our managing director, when he comes to visit our plant, he is freely accessible to people, and that really helps a lot, because people can connect with the top leaders, whatever concerns they have. Like, even when I go on the shop floor, people tell me their smallest of the concern, be it as small as कि चाय का taste अच्छा नहीं है, to
Mm-hmm.
whatever big things in the organization. And listening is one thing what I believe also helps. Like, you just give a patience listening to them, it solves 50% of your problems. And then whatever are addressable concerns, we do that. And I think that takes care of people very well. And of course, on year basis, we also do salary corrections for them. So whatever is paid in the market, we don't exactly match them, but we bring them closer to what is the market paying them. So I
Okay.
think that has helped us till now. It has really helped us to bring down the attrition by almost 20% down. So I think these are some ways that we are able to counter attrition, and that has worked well.
Okay. So you mentioned that for everybody that leaves, you do exit interviews.
Yeah.
So what are the most common reasons that you have found that people leave the company?
So the major one, as I said, is they go in for a higher salary.
Okay.
So people, yeah. So that always is going to be the reason. And in my 16 years of career, I mean, that's money is the biggest motivator. Of course, like once you leave and you go somewhere else, it takes time for you to adjust. But I think it still remains the biggest motivation today.
Okay. So obviously the people that are getting hikes from other places are probably your most talented people at the company. So if
So
you're
Shrey, like, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, you can correct me if I'm wrong. So my question was, if the most talented people are or sought after people are leaving the company, how do you stay competitive? Uh, I guess that's where the training aspect comes in. Let me know like, your thoughts.
Yeah. So there are times where your most talented people also leave. So you get a choice whether you want to retain them by matching their salaries, or you want to let them go. So in some ways, like, where we feel that they're actually good for the organization, they have loyalty factor towards the organization, we do retain them by giving them a little more than what we are giving them today. We do try to compensate their salaries, but it doesn't happen in every case. And some talent we have to just let them go. And we are sure that we can find talent from outside also. So generally, we don't retain everyone, but there are, I would say, around 5% people who are really assets to the organization, who are leaving only and only because of some financial reasons. And see, there are nowadays they are aspirational also. So like if we are able to match their aspirations, their future aspirations, as well as satisfy their financial needs, I think in such cases we try and retain them in the system, but
Okay.
rest we let them go.
Okay, so that kind of wraps up the retention stuff. So we can talk about in detail about the training part. So a lot of it's like school, right? So teacher is teaching something, half the class is paying attention, half the class is not. So what do you do? Like, how do you actually make sure people are learning?
So, first thing is we don't go about any and any training topic. So, the training need identification is something which has to be done very very meticulously. So, what we do is like we have a proper PMS in place, performance management system in place, wherein the HR representative also sits in some of the one-on-one discussions where employees and managers have their one-on-one discussions. So there are a lot of points that we absorb through these discussions, like what are the current issues and challenges with the people, what are the managers facing, what are the employees facing, and these issues are probably some kind of training needs for us, or the needs where they, or the learning gaps that we see as, and we try to bridge these gaps. So we don't force the training topics onto them, but we try to see what are their requirements today. So when we do that, probably they are engaged, they are very much aligned to what they want in life, in their careers. So that really helps a lot.
Okay,
We
but like,
connect with them.
but how are you like? What is the exact like process of? Let's say you've
Okay.
identified the problem. Like, what do you do now?
Yeah. So then after we identify the problem, so as I said, like through performance dialogues and discussions, we see as to what are the needs coming, be it technical needs or be it the behavioral needs, and then we bucket them into various gaps, training gaps. Now we sit with the HODs and the managers, and we validate from them that what we understood is these are the needs which are, or the gaps which are coming up for your people. Is it correct? Then they say yes, these are correct. Then we kind of we prioritize them. Yeah. So we generally then prioritize, like which are the, out of these needs, which are the ones that we want to attack this year, which are the needs which we can keep it for the next year or year after. So that way we prioritize that, okay, from 10 topics that we have identified, probably this 2 or 3 topics are something that we want to attack in this year. And then we go about finding right resources, right trainers, if it is behavioral training. We also try to find in-house trainers, for technical training, so that they exactly know where the problems are, because they are the ones who are working on the shop floor also. So
Mhm.
they know exactly what is the problem. So as much as close we go to the problem, I think that helps us.
Okay.
For that matter, we recently also conducted some behavioral trainings, wherein we asked the trainer to come and visit our plant. We asked them to go and meet the HODs, look around the plant, what are the different issues that we have today, and also made them speak to a few people, a bunch of people, as to the person should get the feeling as to what these people are today. And then we had a lot of rounds of discussions with them when they are curating the training program for the entire day. We actually used to sit with them and understand ki, okay, isme aap kya karoge, how are you going to do this exercise. So we customize it to the most I mean whatever is best possible. And that also helps that the training programs are really focused to the needs of the the employees, and then they take active participation in such trainings.
Okay. So, speaking of training, like, so how do you ensure successful training? As in, I'll give you an example. I've seen this a few times where,
Yeah,
take a trainer comes, like, the employees are not excited कि आज training मिलना है. They're excited काम से भाई आराम मिलेगा,
true,
like some
true,
vacation
true.
or something. So tell me about that. Like, what have you seen about?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I absolutely can relate to your experience, Shrey. and that also has been my area of concern.
Hmm.
So to mitigate this issue, what we do is, when we do a behavioral training, at the end of the behavioral training, we make them write three commitments that they have derived from this training.
Okay.
And these commitments are not something that will just fly in the air. So these commitments they should write, they should sign. Next day when they go on the shop floor or their workplace, they should discuss this with their managers. And most of these needs are like common needs. The priorities might be different, but generally these needs are common. So the managers also understand that okay, itne logon ne ye commitment liya hai. And then we have taught them these techniques that okay, if you face this issues, what you should do. And we also tell the managers that these are, so generally we also share the, so for example, if you have 10 batches of a particular training, so after these batches we sit the managers with the HODs, and we tell them or we debrief them as to what were the outcomes of these trainings, what were some insights that we got from the trainings, what are the issues that people are facing today, so on and so forth. They're learning out of the trainers, learning out of all these sessions. And
Mm.
when we discuss with the managers, they also know कि अच्छा मेरे को क्या करना है with my set of people. So we also make them aware of such situations, and we also tell them कि ऐसा situation आएगा तो you have to behave this way, you have to be after your people. And this commitment cards that I spoke to you about, that helps because the managers also aligned. And 3 months down the line we ask the managers कि ये जो issues थे इसके ऊपर हमने training किया, has it really the issues have lowered down or not. And this is in real sense what you called as ROI of this training
Got it.
programs.
So does this work for behavioral and hard skills training both? Like, is this the same?
Yes. So honestly, we are experimenting. I mean, we just started with this model because, I had to curate this model after a long thinking process as to what will work, what will not work. So, like we don't want to do too many trainings in a year. We want to do focus 2 or 3 trainings in a year, which will really hit the people. And we should also derive the ROI out of these trainings. So we have just begun with this process. I'm sure that it will work because what I've heard is like we just concluded, like last month we concluded with a set of behavioral trainings. We conducted around 15 batches with our people, and at least on the shop floor there is a buzz about these trainings.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because in the
so
sense
people
people are liking it.
yeah, people are liking it, and people have so basically I'll tell you that there were some issues around people. There were some issues regarding addiction to online gaming or something.
Okay.
So now
That's
yeah,
a new one. I've
so
never heard that.
yeah, and that's very rampant, probably at least in our industry it was pretty rampant. And we sensitize them as to how this online gaming platforms work, because they are just there to drain your money. It's
Mm.
not going to yield you any bumper इनाम या लॉटरी लगने वाला है, ऐसा
Yeah,
नहीं
yeah,
होने
yeah.
वाला है. So and when people shared their experiences, like now, like you and I sharing our experiences, it's okay. But when the experiences are shared in the larger group, people get sensitized. And I might not say कि अच्छा I am also involved in this racket, but I will learn that okay, ये काफी लोगों के साथ हो चुका है.
Huh.
And it was a surprise to us that there were around at least 50% of our workforce in junior levels, they were addicted to online gaming. And when this got
Addicted
surfaced
in the
and when we
sense like,
sensitized
okay,
them.
addicted in the sense like, like was it harming their work? Like during work they were playing and all that stuff?
No, 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 no. So they've lost a lot of money. So there
Okay.
is this,
Maybe so.
yeah. So आपको ये online rummy होता है. Then there is
अच्छा,
some
वो सब.
aviator game. A
Hmm.
lot of games. So what they do is initially they will win. I mean, make you
Yeah, you
win.
win a lot and then you get.
Yeah, win a lot. And then like you start pouring more and more money, and then in one go you lose.
Hmm.
So people have lost in tunes of like 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, 7 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs. So these people who don't have a sound financial background, now all of them are into crisis situation.
Hmm.
But how do we further avoid this is something that we wanted to deal, because it is because so we give loans also to our employees, but we have limited budgets for loans. And for the last 6 months, what we saw is like every single day people are coming up and asking for loan. मतलब इतना सारा लोन का जरूरत क्यों पड़ रहा है? So when we dig deep into this subject, we understood that, oh, online gaming में काफी लोग people are losing their money. So this became our subject for training,
Okay.
and we sensitize them. So like we just don't tell them अच्छा ये खेलना नहीं चाहिए, ये इसमें ये होता है, इसमें ऐसा होता है. So ज्ञान is not going to help here. So how we make them realize that how it is going to impact your families, how it is impacting you, is something that we touch them to that core. And that is where people realize that, oh, this is really wrong. Now whatever has been lost is lost, but I should not lose any further.
Okay. Yeah, it's like the thing where when something becomes socially unacceptable, the people stop doing it. So it was like back in the day, smoking was very
Yeah.
socially acceptable. Like doctors used to smoke on camera and all. फिर socially, like overall, then it became stigmatized. So then it stopped
True.
kind of. Then it became less popular. So I think you guys did the kind of same in at the unit.
Kind of, yeah. So it's not only social stigma, but it's to make them realize that it's not going to help you.
Hmm.
Yeah. So if I tell you कि smoking is bad for your health, you also know it,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but still you smoke. So what happens is when you help them understand, okay, तुम्हारे बीवी बच्चे हैं, चलो कल उठ के तुम्हारा कुछ हो गया, कैंसर हो गया, तुमको कुछ हो गया, do you have funds that you will be able to fund your cancer operations or surgeries or whatsoever? तो वो बोलेगा नहीं. बोला चलो ठीक है, तुम ऊपर चले गए, उसके बाद क्या? What is going to happen to your family? So when you help them go deep
It
into
was a
themselves,
fear training.
kind of a sensitization. See, it's a reality, it's not a fear. I mean,
Yeah,
I really want to see call it out very differently, that it's not a fear that works, it's the sensitization that works. And unless and until people are sensitized to these topics, they will not really care about it.
wonderful.
So, and similarly for other things like be it safety, because we are a chemicals manufacturing plant, so safety is of topmost priority. So we have seen people, changing their ways. We have seen the culture changing from non-safety culture to a safety culture. So it all works. When we actually go and sensitize them deep level, only then it works. Otherwise, just आप ट्रेनिंग के लिए ट्रेनिंग दोगे उनको, भाषण दोगे, it's not going to help in the longer run.
Got it, got it. Then I've kind of asked you everything I wanted to ask you about. So is there anything you'd like to wrap up with? Any last words?
So like I have come a long way in this journey. Like I started as a recruiter, and then I started getting opportunities and I grabbed them. So like any role that was thrown in front of me. So like I was sitting in the comforts of the Ahmedabad city. My home was hardly 3 kilometers away from my office. From those comforts, I chose to go to a place like Mundra, which is like a very remote place away from my home. But I thought that okay, that is where I'll have the most of my learning in my life, and that has helped me in my career. So my only so I wanted to wrap up with this thing that in the initial times or initial careers, you should not be very very choosy about कि मुझे यही role चाहिए या ये होगा या इतना salary चाहिए. I've seen people saying that if it is this salary only, then we are open. So people prefer to sit home rather than work for a lesser money. So I
Mm,
think these are some things which I really am aware of these days, today's, and I think that is something which a youngster should not do. That's the message that I want to give to them, and take up whatever roles. See, aaj nahi na kal, if you are really bright, money is going to follow you. Don't follow the money, let the money follow you, is
yeah,
something that I want to wrap up with.
amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shreya.